Good morning, students. Welcome to the first class of the class 9th, the first biology class of class 9. In this, we are going to start with the 5th chapter of your NCERT book, that is the fundamental unit of life. Okay, let's start now. We know that every organism, each and every living organism is made up of the small functional units, and these units are called the cell. We define the cell as that the cell is a structural and the functional unit of life. Why the structural? Because all the organism structure cannot be imagined without the cell, and functional, all the functions are performed by the cell only. So that's why we define the cell as a structural and the functional unit of our life. Now in a small portion we'll discuss the discovery of the cell. We will not go with the detail. According to the class 9th only we'll discuss it. That the cell was observed by the scientist, that is Robert Hooke. He observed cell in 1665, and he first observed the cell in the bottle cap of the bottle, that is called cork. Now what is cork? Cork is made from the dark brown portion of the tree, that is called the bark, and that bark is used to make the cork. Is it clear? Now he observed that in his self-made compound microscope, and in this he observed that the small rooms are there, and these small rooms he named cell. And he described it in his book, that is called Micrographia. After that, after so many years, in 1674, Leeuwenhoek, another scientist, discovered the first living cell, and he discovered the first living cell in the pond fish. Okay, he used the semen, the sperm of the pond fish. Now after that, in 1838, the scientists, that is Schedeen and Schwann, both of them given the theory, and the theory is called the cell theory, and in this theory they described the important points for the cell. The first point they given was all the living organisms are made up of one or more cells. One or more cell means on the basis of the one or more cells, we will discuss this in the further classes, that there are the organisms, some organisms that are made up of only one cell, and there are the number of the organisms made up of more than one cell, as we are the human beings made up of more than one cell. Amoeba, paramecium, all are the unicellular organisms that made up of only the one cell. So it means all the living organisms, the smallest or the largest, are made up of the cell only. Some are made up of the one cell, and some are the more than one cell. The next one is the cell is the basic structural and the functional unit in all living organisms. Means all the living organisms, the smallest or the largest, are made up of the cell only, and all the functions are being performed by the organism, or the structure of the organism is made up of the cell only. Now the next one is all the cells, whatever the cells, the new cells are being forming, the cells always form from the pre-existing cell. None of the other new cells is not going to form. All the new cells that are being formed always formed from the pre-existing cell. Means the cells that is being existing is only responsible for the formation of the new cell. This is all about of this class. Further we'll discuss in the other class. Thank you. Hello students, in the previous video we started our chapter the fundamental unit of life, and in that video I explained you the what is cell, and and I also told you about the discovery of the cell. Now in this video we'll start with the structure of the cell. Okay, now the structure of the cell, we will discuss here the structure of the eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cell is mainly form of the three components, or we can say that I will divide the cell into three parts. The outermost, the first one is the outermost part of the cell, that is called the cell membrane or the plasma membrane. Okay, then in center we have the control room of the cell. In this is the control room of the cell, we call it nucleus, and the plasma membrane enclose the matrix, or you can say the jelly like fluid in the cell, and this jelly like fluid is called cytoplasm. Cyto means cell and plasm means liquid, means cell fluid is called the cytoplasm. In cytoplasm we have the number of other cell organelles. Organelles means the parts of the small structures present in the cytoplasm, that we will all discuss in the cytoplasm only. Firstly, in this video today we will start with the plasma membrane. Now plasma membrane is our selectively permeable membrane that encloses the cell. Means selectively permeable membrane means that the membrane that allows only the selected substances to enter and exit the cell. Okay, then it is the main features of this is that encloses the cell, it allows the or you can say it controls the entry and exit of the substances in the cell, and it allows only the selected substances to enter inside the cell. Now this entry and exit of the certain substances is being carried out by the two main processes, that the diffusion and the osmosis. Firstly we will discuss with the diffusion. Now the first one is diffusion. Diffusion means the movement of the molecules, or any substance from the region of higher concentration. Means higher concentration means where they are in more concentration, more quantity, from the region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration. For example, you can see in this box here the molecules, these are the molecules. Here the quantity of the molecules in this column is more in comparison to this. It means the molecules will move from this section to this section, or you can say it A part or B part. It means the number of the molecules in A part is more in comparison to B, so the molecules will move from A part to B part. Okay, now this movement of the molecules that is from higher concentration to the lower concentration is called diffusion. Now the second process that helps for the entry and exit of the substances, that is osmosis. Osmosis means the movement of the molecules. Here not any other molecule, only the water molecule. Make it very clear here, the movement of water molecule. In osmosis it is a very important point to mention here, that the movement of the water molecules from the region of higher concentration to the lower concentration through the selectively permeable membrane is called osmosis. Okay, here again we have the two chambers. I denoted here this red particles are the water molecules. Now you can see in B chamber the red particles are less, so and in A chamber it is more, so the molecules will move from A chamber to B chamber. Okay, now the very important thing in this, that the movement of the molecules is through the semi permeable membrane. Here you can see the membrane, this is the semi permeable membrane. Okay, it is the very important thing. You can say the difference between the diffusion and the osmosis is this. In diffusion, the movements of the molecule, any molecule it can be, the water molecule and any solute molecule also it can be, it from the region of higher concentration to the lower concentration. But in osmosis there is only the movement of the water molecules. Okay, here no membrane is required for the movement of the molecules, but here the movement of the molecule is only through the selectively permeable membrane. Okay, now when the movement of the molecules is from one place to the another, it is through the different in the different types of the solution. Mainly we have the three types of the solution that helps in the movement of the molecules. The first type of the solution, that is hypertonic solution. Hypertonic solution means the solution where the cell is surrounded by the large quantity of the water. Means the quantity of the water is more outside the cell in comparison to inside the cell. That type of the solution is called hypertonic solution. In this case, the water molecule will move from cell to outside, means the cell in solution of lower concentration. Here the water concentration is less in the outer environment in comparison to the cell, so the water molecules will move out of the cell. So that type of the solution is called hypertonic solution. In this case the cell will become plasmolized, means shrink it will. Okay, now the next one, it is isotonic solution. Isotonic solution means the concentration of the molecules is equal on both the side, inside the cell and outside the cell. In this case the movement of the molecules will be equal. Okay, means equally the molecules will move out of the cell and in of the cell. Okay, the third type of the solution is the hypotonic solution. Hypotonic solution means the solution in which the water concentration is more outside the cell. Here the water concentration is less inside the cell. Here the water concentration is less outside the cell. Here the water concentration is more outside the cell. If it is less outside the cell, then the water is moving out, and here the inside the cell water concentration is less, that's why the water is moving inside. In this case the cell will become turgid. Is it clear? So this is all about this. Now the next, and we will discuss in the next video. Hello students, in the previous class I started the structure of the cell, and in the structure of the cell I told you that we will discuss into three parts. The first one, the plasma membrane, then nucleus, and then cytoplasm. We covered in the previous class plasma membrane. Now in this class we will discuss about the nucleus. Let me first explain you what is the nucleus. Nucleus is the control room of the cell. Why we say it the control room of the cell? Because it is controlling the information that is being transferred from parents to the next generation, and it is controlling all the cellular activities. Means all the cell activities are being controlled by the nucleus only. Now the nucleus has been discovered by the scientist we call Robert Hooke. Let me first tell you the structure of the cell. Firstly, the cell is a double membrane structure. Means you can see here, I drawn here the double membrane structure like this. The two membranes are there like this. So the cell is the double membrane structure, and in these membranes is being perforated by the small pores like this. So these pores are called the nuclear pores, and this nucleus, the membrane, encloses the fluid in the cell, and this fluid we call the nucleoplasm. The fluid that is being filled in the nucleus is called the nucleoplasm. Now in the center we have the ball-like structure in the nucleus, and this ball-like structure that is present in the nucleus like this, it is called the nucleolus. Getting? Now we have these thread-like structure in the nucleus like this. That thread-like structures are called chromatin fibers. These are the chromatin fibers. Nucleus is being attached to the membrane with the help of the structure that is called this structure you can see here, that is called the endoplasmic reticulum. Now let me clear you the functions of these parts. First of all, we have the nuclear envelope that separates the nucleus from the cytoplasm. Then we have the small pores. The small pores in the nucleus that helps in the exchange of the chemical substances between the cytoplasm and the nucleus. Now here we have the structure that is ball-like structure, nucleolus. Nucleolus is the structure that is being helpful. This structure is being helpful for the protein synthesis. Means the protein is being synthesized here in the nucleolus. Now the next structure that we have here is the thread-like structure. You can see the small threads are being present here. These threads are called the chromatin fibers, which is composed of the two things, that is DNA and protein. DNA is the genetic material that transfers the information of the parents to their offsprings. Now when these thread-like structures are being condensed, then they been converted into the chromosomes. The chromosomes like structure, when these chromatin fibers are being condensed means they will, in the other stage of the cell division, they will be becoming like this, and these are called the chromosomes. Chromosomes are the thread-like structure that are present in the nucleoplasm. Chromosome are being discovered by the scientists that is called Waldeyer. Now let me tell you the structure of the chromosome. Chromosome is having the arms that are called the chromatids, and these chromatids are being attached to one another in the center with the help of the structure that is called centromere. And in the chromosomes we have the single double-stranded DNA. Means the double-stranded DNA is present in the chromatid. Now what is the function of the chromosomes? I told you that DNA is present in the chromosomes, so it means that it is helpful for the transmission of the genetic information. Means whatever the characters of the parents have been there, that are being transferred to the offsprings, means their child, with the help of the structure that is called the DNA, and this DNA is present in the chromosomes, and this chromosome is present in the nucleus. Getting what I am telling? Now the small structure, for example, it is our DNA. So the small units of the DNA, means small parts of the DNA, are called the genes. So you can say the functional units of the DNA are called genes, that are the only basic thing that are responsible for the transferring of the characters to their offspring. This is all about our nucleus. Study well. Classes, I told you we started the structure of the cell and we completed the two parts, the plasma membrane and the nucleus. Now in this class we will discuss the cytoplasm, and you know the cytoplasm is the jelly-like fluid that is being present in the cell, and this fluid contains the number of the cell organelles. Now what are the cell organelles? The living components present in the cytoplasm are called the cell organelles. The first cell organelle that is we are going to start here is mitochondria. Now what is mitochondria? Mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Powerhouse means it is providing the energy to the cell. Okay. Now mitochondria, it is called the powerhouse of the cell, and let me tell about the small discovery. It is being discovered by the Kolker, and it is being studied by the scientist that is called Altman. Okay, now let me tell you the structure of the cell. The mitochondria is a double membrane structure. You can see here the double membrane are there, like this one membrane, and here the second membrane. The two membranes are there. Mitochondria is a double membrane structure. The outer membrane is a complete membrane. You can see it is the complete membrane, and the inner membrane is being folded inside like the finger like projections, like the fingers like this. Okay, so it is being folded like the finger like projections. So outer membrane is a complete membrane, inner membrane is being folded inside like the fingers, and these foldings are called cristae. What do we call it? Cristae. Now inside these cristae we have this knob-like structure present. Small knob-like structures are being present inside the cristae, and these knob-like structures are called the F1 particles, or you can say it oxysomes. Okay, here the mitochondria is having its own ribosomes as well as its own DNA, and the fluid that is being present in the mitochondria is called the matrix. Now I told you that the mitochondria is also the very important thing about mitochondria. It is a semi-autonomous organelle. Semi-autonomous. It is semi-autonomous. Autonomous organelle. What is the meaning of semi-autonomous? The organelle that is having its own DNA is called the semi-autonomous organelle. So the DNA, after the nucleus, mitochondria is the cell organelle that is having its own DNA. That's why we call it the semi-autonomous organelle. Now I tell you that what is the main function of the mitochondria. I told you that mitochondria is used to store the energy in the form of ATP. So it is also called the powerhouse of the cell, which is providing the energy to the different parts of the cell. Okay, let me discuss the structure once again. It is a double membrane structure. Outer membrane is being folded inside like the finger like projections. We call it cristae, and in this the cristae we have the small knob like structures. What we call these knobs? F1 particles, or you can say also oxysomes. Now it contains this its own DNA as well as its own ribosomes. That's why we also call it the semi-autonomous organelle. It is having its own DNA, and it is the most important thing of this, that it stores all the energy in the form of ATP. That's why we call it the powerhouse of the cell. That is all about this. Thank you.